Game developers are artists. They are the top of the food chain, the smartest. Sometimes they hide in little details, like a monkey in Halo to signify monkey. Or perhaps, maybe they'd hide in a...
Star Wars, the hub features the Cantina band playing their classic song. Really sets the atmosphere, but turn off in-game music and they'll judge you for ruining the party.
Really? That's kind of cool.
And don't leave your controller down in SpongeBob Truth or Square, because if you stay idle for too long, SpongeBob will start aging. He'll start growing a full beard, which will get longer and longer until
Does he die?
He
dies, right? Oh my god, he actually does. Okay, how long does it take to kill SpongeBob? The average lifespan of a sponge can't be that long, right? When I use it in my dish, the average lifespan of a sponge is until it gets too gross that I can really justify using the sponge anymore, which can depend depending on what I cook at the time, right? So it can vary a lot. How long? Maybe like a week, a few days? Maybe a stretch, like over a week? Not much longer than that, though. Do you have to leave your video game console on for that long?
If you see a wet patch on the ground in Hitman 3, chances are you'll also find a wet floor sign. If that's
you slip on it?
The NPCs avoid the area, but if there's no sign, they'll walk right through and slip over.
That's funny. He said no sign when there literally was a sign there. It's just on the floor so that he couldn't see it. That's pretty cool though. If they don't slip normally, but then they slip when the sign is gone, that's pretty sick.
Would slip over. Speaking of getting KO'd, during God of War Ragnarok's opening fight, you battle against Thor himself as Kratos punches his tooth out and it goes flying. Most people would expect this to despawn, but if you visit the same area later in the game, his tooth is right there on the ice.
Oh, his tooth is gross. Does he not brush his teeth? I mean, to be fair, he is an ancient Viking god lord who most likely doesn't own toothbrushes. But man, that thing is black, dude. What's wrong with you? Christ, you should do floss. Floss a little bit. What is it with gamers and not brushing their teeth? Do you think they model it after their own teeth?
It is right there on the ice. And a Lego event.
Could you use it to upgrade the axe? Imagine taking Thor's tooth and plugging it into the axe and gaining the power of Thor. That'd be pretty cool.
There's way too many characters to choose from, but if you pick the Hulk, he has an insane detail. Usually he transforms like this, but select the 1977 version of Hulk and they'll spray paint him as a reference to the movie's low budget. Turn back to
oh my god.
And he even gets hosed down by Stan Lee. Over in Rage.
Oh my god, that... Okay, that's a nice little thing. I've never seen the old Thor movie. Actually, I've never seen any of the Hulk movies. The Hulk movie is the only MCU movie I didn't watch because I heard it was so bad. I was like, and when I rewatched the entire MCU with my family, I sat down and I was like, no, we can skip the Hulk. We don't have to watch that. Only because I heard that it was bad from other people. I didn't watch it myself. I didn't do any research on it whatsoever, apart from Googling the name of the video or the name of the, looking at the reviews and be like, no, that's okay. We can skip that one.
Will appear if you hold the RPG while idle. While most games just look at the gun you're holding, Rage takes it further with a retro Doom level on the screen. And while FIFA isn't known for changing things up every year, the devs added Ryan Reynolds to the game as a secret detail. If you play as Wrexham against Liverpool, Ryan and Rob will take over the commentary and roast them.
Of course, we're talking about Liverpool. Tiny, tiny club, Liverpool. Tiny club, tiny town.
And it's
why is Ryan Reynolds doing why is he doing voices in FIFA? How did that even happen? Is Ryan Reynolds like a football fan? As we all know, Liverpool, tiny town. No one's ever heard of Liverpool before. That's not true. In an Uber in America, in Georgia of all places, bloody Georgia, I was in an Uber with Luke as we were driving back to the airport. The guy in the Uber who came from, I believe, I don't know exactly where, it was a country in Africa, said that he loved Liverpool. And he was an immigrant that moved to Georgia in America and was like, you know, I love Liverpool.
Insanely realistic details in Warzone when you equip a thermal sight, because it'll actually stop working when you look through a window. Of course, in real life, heat imaging doesn't work through glass, which most of us wouldn't even notice.
Yeah, no, I knew that.
It's full of details like this, and my personal favorite involves the taxis. If you steal a cab and just sit there, after
Sleeping Dogs is one of the most underrated video games of all time. I watched someone play this and I'm like, damn, this looks absolutely fantastic. It's like GTA in Hong Kong. I don't know if it's Hong Kong or where it is exactly, but it's like GTA, but a lot cooler than GTA.
While NPCs will come up to you and think you're a real taxi driver.
Do I look like a cab driver to you?
The best secrets are the ones nobody will ever notice.
What does a cab driver look like?
Select the classic Doom guy skin. He has a scar on his left arm, and while most of us would shrug it off as generic battle scars, it's actually because of the first game's artwork where a demon grabs him. You gotta love the content.
Wait, but the artwork in that, it doesn't even look like he's scratching. He's not scratching him. What is your skin made of paper mache? Doom guy? I thought you were supposed to be big and strong and able to resist damage. You get torn, you tear apart demons on a daily basis. You get thrown around by Satan himself, and you're getting scratched by, look, it's not even scratching him. Fingernails aren't on his skin even.
Because of the first game's artwork where a demon grabs him. You gotta love the continuity, which is why Dead Island included this hotel room.
Maybe it's a demon, it's hot, true.
For the game, which shows a family getting attacked by zombies as their daughter gets infected and thrown out the window. Well, you can...
Damn, Dead Island's based for throwing a small girl out of a window. I can't believe they did that. Also, I can't believe they took that advertisement and then they released the game that they actually released. I've never seen an advertisement that was so different from the actual video game. When you look at an ad, you're like, oh, it's lying to me. Because that's what ads are supposed to do. They're supposed to lie to you. They're supposed to deliver a promise and an idea that doesn't actually exist. But Dead Islands was so different, it was ridiculous. I still like Dead Island, the game, though.
Go and visit this exact room on the map and see the tragic remains of the couple. In most games, you just want to escape reality.
The kid's not there, is it?
Some details are
Look out the window.
Realistic, like in GTA San Andreas. If you start eating too much food, you'll get fat, which sounds like a cosmetic joke, but you actually can't do jetpack missions because you won't fit inside the harness. Meanwhile, Hitman has tons of ways to eliminate your target, just like Assassin's Creed.
Too real.
But merge the two games with the Plague Doctor outfit, and the bodyguards will say,
looks like someone's been playing too much Assassin's Creed. This is not a cosplay event.
All right.
What? There's breaking the fourth wall and then it's going too far. There's, oh, looks like someone's been playing too much of branded video game.
On the topic, AC Origins is set in Egypt, so there's a huge desert. Naturally, you're gonna find yourself spending a lot of time in here, but if you take too long, you'll start to hallucinate. And we can't talk about realism without bringing up Red Dead, because it's full of them, like when you injure a shopkeeper and leave. Returning to the scene of the crime reveals the shopkeeper still has their wounds and even wears bandages depending on where you hit him.
Oh, there is something like that in Shadow of Mordor, the Lord of the Rings games that are really good. There's Shadow of Mordor and there's Shadow of War, I think. They are really fantastic. They have a system called the Nemesis system. And if you kill an orc or you try to kill an orc, but you fail, if the orc kills you, the orc remembers you, but it also has battle scars from the battle that you had. So if you burn him, he'll have like a burnt face. He'll have like flesh that has been burnt. If you cut him, you'll have like cut marks in him. If you bludgeon him, you'll have like broken bones or something. You'll have like a plate on his face where you like bludgeoned his head. It's so sick. I love how they remember it like that. It's really cool.
Heartbreaking detail that only appears if you follow this dog around. He walks up to the graveyard every single day and he'll sit down at a tombstone with flowers grieving his dead owner, and hopefully I'm not the only one crying right now.
That's really sad. What happens if you shoot the dog? I mean, I wouldn't, but like just in theory, what happens if you shoot the dog?
Death Stranding, you can do all kinds of things like drink Monster Energy, pee on rocks, and after all that work, treat yourself to a shower.
And don't forget drinking a Monster Energy. Oh, is this going to be the look at the ballsack one?
Sam's going to turn desperate and eventually begs you to let him shower. Crisis 2 is equally impressive. You spend the game wearing a super suit, which has its perks, including running really fast.
It wasn't the ballsack one. Okay, for anyone that doesn't know the ballsack one, if you zoom in on Norman Reedus's ballsack genital area, he gets really self-conscious, and then if you keep doing it, he punches you in the face.
If you come across this speed camera, you better follow the law or else it'll know. Uncharted 4 isn't an open world game, but it still feels like one thanks to some ridiculous details. In one level, you can see this building being painted by a group of men, and if you return later in the game, it's damaged by fighting, but also fully painted. Of course,
that's
as
cool.
Yourself, you're meant to be quiet, and the last thing you do is shoot a fish tank just because you feel like it.
No,
It might be a little risky,
no, not the
but
fish.
the reward's kind of worth it.
Oh, dude, the fish are so scared. They are not having a good time. Bro, the fish are like, dude, what do we do? What the hell is happening? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
Stops. The fish even try to survive. Then like,
oh, that's so sad. I don't like that.
Max Payne 2 try to watch TV. Walking in front of them and blocking their view is pretty rude, so be warned, they'll let you know.
Get out of the way, Payne.
But don't even get me started with turning off the TV.
Hey, we were watching that.
Now, Hitman
Okay, what happens if you shoot them, though?
But only recently people realized you could put down a rake and NPCs will step on it like a classic cartoon character.
Okay, that game is awesome. I played that game a while ago. I was like, it's fine. It's like a 7 out of 10. Now that I know that, it's bumped up. It's a 10 out of 10
2
now.
is all about being a criminal, and you can rob anyone you want, or so you might think. If you come across a blind person and point a gun at them, they don't react at all. Such a simple detail for no
What happens if you shoot the blood?
reason,
Sorry.
like Far Cry 3's buried head. On the iconic cover art for the game, Voss is sat on the beach with a man buried in the sand, among other creepy discoveries. Well, if you go to this location, it's exactly how Voss left it. And if Forza
Being buried alive is probably my biggest fear. I can't think of anything that I would want to do least That's the worst way to die. Being in a coffin, buried alive. I have like secondhand anxiety. When I watched Mr. Beast's Buried Alive video, it freaked me out. I did not like it at all.
Or there's a secret that can only be described as blink and you miss it.
I'd rather drown than buried alive.
And if
Easily, I'd rather drown.
For a split second, you could see their faces turn from happy to sad. And it's probably because you also haven't subscribed yet, but I personally love the secret
Facts, bro, you got me.
Doom remake. There's a huge pit of molten lava in the factory, and nobody in their right mind would jump into it. Probably should though, because it plays an exclusive cutscene that references the iconic thumbs up from Terminator 2. Now, let me tell you, it's not as crazy what happens to a corpse in Red Dead. If you go hunting, then skinning an animal is the whole point. But what happens if you just leave it there? After a few in-game days,
decompose?
literally decompose,
gross.
getting more and more mangled until there's nothing left but bones.
This game is so realistic. This is the game that has the horses shit in front of you. There's a certain point where a game becomes too realistic. In Red Dead Redemption 2, every time you want to search something, you open the drawer individually and then look around and then rifle around inside and then pick up each item individually to put it in your inventory. At some point, we've got to just be like, okay, let's speed things up a bit here. I love Red Dead Redemption 2, way too slow.
Talk about messed up. We're so used to treating games like playgrounds that setting random things on fire is super normal. Well, that's why it's so shocking when the NPCs in AC Origins will rush to the flames and put them out. But the secret everyone loves involves Michael's house from GTA 5. We've all tried to blow his mansion up, let's be honest, and it's hilarious when he calls you and yells,
"Stop firing rockets at my house!"
During the Whittaker Creek mission of Hitman 2, there's a guy named Janice who happens to have a painting of himself in the basement. But
hold on, yo, he's got the Soviet Union flag. What the fuck kind of base?
Go aside, it's when Agent 47 aims a gun at the portrait that this thing will angrily stare right back at him. One of the funniest details is in Watch Dogs 2. When you're walking around the streets of San Francisco, some expensive cars are lying around, but the best part is none of them know how to park. But there is one thing I know about Batman.
No, that's just realism. So they were trying to get the driver experience as close to real life as they possibly could. So they made sure that not a single person in that entire city could park a car properly.
That he doesn't
Very
kill
realistic.
People. You could argue that he's totally out there killing thugs, but not in Arkham Asylum. To stay true to his code, every enemy you wipe out is still breathing on the ground, even if you just beat them to a pulp.
No, I love causing brain damage and saying that I'm a pacifist that has never killed anyone. I love hanging someone from a gargoyle and then having them drop down. I love snapping people's necks and being like, oh, no, see, they're still breathing. Technically, they may be hospitalized for life and they may be in a coma, but they're still breathing, aren't they? That's right. I'm the good guy.
Superhero with that rule is Spider-Man, and his game involves a secret that went unnoticed for months. There's a part of the city where you could find Orthodox Jewish NPCs.
The medical bills kill them. That's a good one.
Heading to work, unless of course you're playing on a Saturday. The game reads the system time, and if it's a Sabbath, these NPCs don't go to work. A detail that's way too unnecessary involves this note from The Last of Us. If you hand it to Bill, you'll screw it up and throw it away, but you can pick it back up and the note will stay creased next time you try and read it.
Oh, isn't that the note from his lover that ended up taking his own life? Last of Us spoilers, by the way, for the show and for the game. They did that Bill's whole thing totally differently in the show and the game. So much better in the show, in my personal opinion. I really loved the show episode. It was really good.
Usually have the best atmosphere, but Dead Space 2 is the last place I'd expect to find this secret. There's a random set of scales in the corner, and most players will run straight past it, but not only does it give you an accurate weight—
195? Okay, how heavy is that? I'm like 165, I think. Is that heavy? I don't know. It's not heavy, obviously. 195 is a little bit more than me.
It increases when wearing an armored suit.
Oh, so you can tell how big the suit is weight-wise. It's cool.
Is this Russian doll in the Division? Shoot it to reveal an even smaller doll over and over again, just how it works in real life. The Marvel Avengers was written off pretty quickly, but there's one detail that you have to see. In Thor's bedroom, his hammer is left on the ground, and when the game lets you play as multiple Avengers, none of them can pick it up. Doing this as Thor shows him holding it with ease, but then it comes to Captain America, who moves it slightly, a reference to the films. And look, everyone who plays the
Pog, I love Avengers. I love Marvel. Pog you. I'm so sad that Marvel's not fun anymore. I haven't seen a Marvel movie in forever. I haven't gotten excited for a Marvel movie in so long. When's maybe the next Spider-Man one will be good?
At some point tried to drown someone in the pool, right? I mean, I'm not totally weird. So, to account for this, The Sims 4 made the Grim Reaper show up wearing snorkels, and the urn will have its own floaty. Except you have to remember when playing Hitman could be essential to killing your target. If they're looking at a mirror, you'll be spotted just by walking behind them. But when it steams up from a shower, it's time to strike. I prefer to take people out.
There are so many of these these little details in Hitman. They really put their whole bussy into that game.
And getting involved in a fist fight will leave you damaged even if you win. Arthur gets cuts and bruises.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, of course, if you end up in a fight, you get damaged even if you win. I saw that there was a sword game that came out in Steam, and it's really realistic sword fighting. To the point where if you win a sword fight, like the character, instead of being like in a fighting game where they're like, you win, woo, let's go, baby, I win, I'm the winner, let's go. They'll be doubled over, they'll be bleeding, they'll be like gasping for breath, or they'll like collapse on the ground and they'll be dying and all that. Because if you cut someone with a sword, that's gonna hurt. And if you go into a sword fight, you're not winning a sword fight. You can not lose a sword fight, but you don't win a sword fight unless you just one tap.
On his knuckles after a brawl, which secretly heal over time. If you love admiring NPCs, make sure to play Monster Hunter because there's an adorable kitten making dough and the detail in the animation is ridiculous. Not only is it a subtle joke to the way cats make bread in real life, but you could follow
No, hey, they don't make bread, okay? They make biscuits. You put in some biscuit orders, and then the cat's got to work. I know, my cat does the same. He finally got a job at the biscuit factory, and he's putting in hard graft.
Brings it to the oven and bakes it. I mean, what? How is this a background scene?
That's so cute.
Scene?
I love
It's
that.
not just kittens working together. In Horizon Zero Dawn, you can watch ant colonies carry leaves up and down tree branches. Ice cubes in Metal Gear Solid 2 are also realistic. If you shoot them out of the container, they'll gradually melt because they're not refrigerated anymore. Now that you got the water from ice, it is time to boil it. And Skyrim lets you do just that. Fire spells heat up water, and eventually it bubbles before turning to steam. I mean, this game is 12 years old, by the way.
I think that's the only part of Skyrim that I didn't know. Oh my god, I just learned something new about Skyrim 13 years after, but playing it like 7 billion times. I can't believe I did not know that. I thought I knew everything about Skyrim.
You should check out what happens
Holy
in Super
Jesus
Mario
Christ.
Odyssey. After you go AFK and leave Mario all on his own, he'll take a nap and talk about pasta, Princess Peach, but let him snooze on the street, and a pigeon can land on his nose. If you're looking
It's New York. That's what happens in New York. Hey, there's bloody pigeons everywhere. They come in and steal my pizza slices. What's going on over here?
VR is the place to be. Every detail's gotta be accurate, but not this realistic. Half-Life Alyx has washing machines that could easily be powered off, but Valve went the extra mile and lets you use them. Back in Spider-Man PS4,
Can you wash your clothes?
NPCs. Spent so much time swinging through the air, there's no reason to add something like crosswords into the game, but they're out here doing it anyway. Some Easter eggs exist just to poke fun at the real
BioShock?
world, like in BioShock, where vending machines cost the exact same everywhere on the map until you go to the movie theater and it's more expensive. I mean,
I did know that. I also thought that was kind of crazy as well. Like, it costs so much that you can't buy anything. BioShock is my favorite game of all time. Oh god, I love when people talk about BioShock. Please, I would watch 7 billion videos from this channel if they talk about BioShock. I fucking love this game so much. It's so good.
Real here. The same thing happens in Metal Gear Solid 3
I get so happy.
when Big Boss loses his eye. After this happens, the right side of the screen is much darker than usual, and if you close your right eye in real life, you'll see exactly why this is impressive. Look at you closing your eye now.
I didn't close. Oh, also, you know what I just realized is that my left eye is so blind. Wait, right eye? I think my right eye is my good eye. I just realized that. Oh my god.
Funnier is that Sonic doesn't know how to swim.
Sonic doesn't know how to swim. Isn't that funny? He's gonna drown and die.
True to this, when Mario and Sonic Olympic Games released, the devs needed a workaround for the swimming sport. Their solution, a life jacket. Problem solved. Those are 50 and
Let's go! So we attack Pat from the left. The only thing you should attack from the left is the subscribe button, am I right? If you want to suggest a video for me to watch, do it in the Discord server, which is linked in the description. Hey, thanks. Test your eyes regularly to make sure that you can still see.